Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
What's up, everybody? Friday Face-Off here today. Friday Face-Off is where Jeffrey Jehu Lavecchio and we take a topic, sometimes a little controversial in the hockey world. And today's going to be one of those days because I sent out a social media post the other day that got some people in a tizzy. They got some people in a tizzy, and that's okay. That's sometimes we like that because then we can talk it out. We can talk it out. So my social media post, I got a text from a Division I men's hockey head coach. And I'm going to read this text to you right now. And I threw this on social media, and there were a lot of comments on it. A lot of comments on it. So here was the text from a Division I head coach. Toph, thought you would enjoy this. I watched a U16 game yesterday, was sitting mixed in with the parents. Listened to a dad mother F the coaches for 60 minutes alongside of coaching his son's every move. The kid is a very good D1 prospect, but he won't be here. No chance I'm coaching that for 4 years. So I sent that out and basically said something to the effect of, for all the parents out there, when your kid is being recruited, we are not just evaluating your kid, we are evaluating you as well. And so this got some pushback from some people, and I thought it would be fun for Jeffrey, you and I to talk about it here today. So the pushback that I got was, how could you punish a kid for what a parent does? That's not fair to the kid to do that. And, is it also bad coaching, to not take a really, really talented player because the effect that the parent has is not going to be as much as what the potential positive could be for the kid being in your program anyways. So wanted to bring that up today. Thought it would be fun to bat around on the Friday Face-Off. So first of all, what are your thoughts on that text from that head coach? And then also, what are your thoughts on the pushback from people who say that's ridiculous and it's not fair to the kid?
First of all, it's 100% true. We've talked about this on the podcast. We've had a podcast 7 years. We've talked about this on the podcast for 7 years. Guys, when we're talking about junior coach, we're not talking about kid hockey. We're talking about junior, college, pro. Junior college and pro hockey becomes a business. It is the business of winning. That coach feeds his family on wins and losses. Now, for the parents out there who don't think this is a thing, think about if you owned a business. Are you going to bring in somebody? And we talk about on the show all the time, the 5 people you hang around with the most, or who you're going to turn into. Apple, tree. Shitty tree, don't want the apple, okay? I'm not bringing in somebody who has a terrible influence and a parent who's cussing and swearing and is constantly a problem and is selfish and all of these things into my organization. Because again, apple tree. And if I'm a coach, I make my living on wins and losses. Toph and I have talked about on the podcast for years. It is very, very easy for a locker room that has positive energy and good relationships and things like that to turn sour with just one energy vampire in the room. One kid, one player, whatever the level is, to be pissed off, to not know how to, face challenges head on, not be a good team first type of person. It takes one player. One turns into 2, into 4, it starts creating cliques, things like that. So this is 100% true, 100% a real thing. If I am a coach getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars or any money, and that's the way that I make money, my living, I am not going to even take a chance on a kid who has a crappy parent, selfish parent, a parent with bad behavior, a parent with a bad reputation, because apple tree, energy vampires. I don't want that in my locker room. I don't want to deal with that parent. If it's a parent who's always complaining and always about their kid, well, guess what? Who's influencing the kid? When the kid has a problem, they get sat, they get healthy scratch, and they call mom or dad, and that parent's a problem. Then what the parent is saying to them on the phone, which is not what you're looking for in a player on your team. You want resiliency. You want a good teammate. You want a good person. You want all these things. And guess what, guys? No matter how good your player is, there's somebody out there 99.9999999% of the time that's just as good as them, or so close that they're going to rather take that player who's not a problem, who is a good person, who comes from good stock, who comes from a good family, who sees a 10,000-foot view and is not going to be a problem or affect your team chem, anything like that, your culture. This is a real thing, parents. Figure it out.
Boom. Okay.
Drives me nuts because the people who are saying this isn't a thing are probably the parents who are a problem, honestly, because they're people who make excuses.
So yes, and I want to kind of carry on that point that you just made right there. Making excuses is a big part of the reason why this text is 100% valid. And for those of you who say, well, the coaches aren't as involved, at the college level or even the pro level, you are mistaken, because even though the parent isn't directly calling the coach in college, the call to the kid, like you said, after they get scratched or after they didn't get put on the power play or whatever it may be, like if you have a parent that enables and saying you're getting screwed, like that kid's either going to transfer or that kid's not going to enjoy the experience. That kid's going to be a problem in the locker room. If you have a parent that says, go talk to the coach, like figure it out, get better. If you're sitting, get better. Like, what's your attitude? Like, are you the first player on the ice every day? Like, there's a very big difference at the college level with coaching a kid that has the first parent who's the excuse maker and somebody who has the second parent that says, go work harder. Like, even though it's not directly with the coach, they still have a huge effect and impact. And if you talk to pro coaches, they'll tell you the same freaking thing. And when you talk to NHL scouts, they're absolutely 100% asking. I know because I coached in college and I would have NHL scouts ask me about the parents in the recruiting process. And I was a midget hockey coach and I had all the junior coaches ask me about the parents all the time, because it's not worth the investment in the kid if you know the parent is going to be a problem for a whole host of different reasons. And I think about it from even a youth hockey perspective. For me, I'm not picking a kid that has a problem parent, because one problem parent, energy is contagious, right? And one problem parent can ruin an entire group, right? And also one problem parent, as for me, as a coach, and for somebody that has a family and 3 kids and works really, really hard, one problem parent can do a damage to a coach's mental health as well. And like, I want to enjoy my experience coaching at the end of the day. And I don't care how good your kid is. If you're going to make my life miserable because you're calling me all the time about whatever, like, no, I'm not going to deal with that. And so I like, for everybody that has pushback to this, and I get like, oh, would you like, you can't, is it fair for the kid, to punish the kid for, a parent's issues? No, it's not. But you know what? Life's not fair. Sorry.
Thank
okay.
you.
Like,
life is not fair.
It's not fair to that kid, but I'm making an educated guess and an educated decision for the betterment of everybody on my team, to make sure that the culture is right. So everybody in our room, has a great experience. And here's another thing, Vex, like I hear this from like youth hockey clubs, right? So like for me, if a parent, and I'll go on a limb and say this, if there is a big parent problem, you want to know the best way to fix that parent problem? Suspend the kid.
Ooh.
Right? If you are not adhering to the standards, we'll not start with that. Okay, like you're suspended as a parent from watching the next game if you're yelling at the refs or yelling at the kids or whatever.
Amen.
But you don't start there, but you are ruining the experience for everybody else. And we like drastic measures here. And I have zero problem with suspending a kid for the conduct of mom and dad. Zero issue with that. And they talk about a way and the parents that like the good parents, like, and again, we are one of the biggest life skills that we need to teach our kids is accountability and ownership. For me, that is one of the most important things. And if a parent isn't living that, or a coach, any adult really for that matter, coaches should get suspended if they're doing stupid stuff too. This isn't just like a parent problem. It's all adults. Like, but how else are you going to like fix an issue? I think I have no problem
And
with
it'd be
kids.
the quickest turnaround because, and also like, think about the ramifications. All right. You're at one of these, let's use AAA because we're talking about college scouting and pro and juniors. You're at one of these massive showcases where every scout at every junior college team are at them. And you got some parent in the stand screaming at the refs, screaming at the team. So all of those scouts are looking at your team and your organization in negative light now. Because of one parent's actions. Not only are they crossing the kid's name off the list, but they're like, wow, I can't believe this organization allows this. And now they're thinking about questioning your organization's leadership, your team's leadership, allowing a parent like that. All right. Shit rolls downhill, guys.
Yeah.
Like, this is a real thing. Like Toph said, I have NHL teams, I have college teams, I have junior teams call me all the time in the off season before the drafts, before, signing periods. And they ask me, what kind of kid is he? What are his parents like? Every call,
Every time
I get those two things. I get those two questions. What are his parents like?
Every
if you
time.
think this isn't a thing, you're burying your head in the sand.
Yeah. And trust me, going by years and years of experience that both Vex and I have in dealing with a lot of different families, like when you talk about, let's say you're an investor and you're looking at the market and you're looking at good stocks to buy, so it's going to give you a greater return. What you're going to do your due diligence and you're going to do your research, and based on everything that I have seen, and again, as a college coach, like you're projecting, right? You're projecting, 2 to 5 years down the road when that kid's going to be potentially a senior in your program, and you want to get all the information that you can. And we have seen, trust me, you are way more likely to quote unquote make it as a college player if you come from a good family and your parents aren't excuse makers. It's just reality. And I can tell you stories of kids that were the most talented 15, 16, 17-year-olds that had really tough parents that were a big problem that fizzled. Are there a few that make it? Sure there are. Like, they're just that talented and whatever. Like, again, but you're hedging your bets. And I can tell you that there are kids who weren't the best players at 15, 16 years old who ended up being incredible college players at the end of the day. And you're like, man, you know why? Like, they just come from a really good family, And so the proof is in the pudding, honestly. And when you're hedging some of these, the way that how expensive schools are nowadays, when you talk about Division I hockey, like you're given a full scholarship, like you're investing $250,000 to $300,000 in a kid, and you're investing into your culture, you're investing into wins and keeping your job. Like it's all about people, man. You win at the highest levels, not just with talent, but with people. And so if you got the right talent and the wrong people, you ain't going to win. Just like if you have the wrong talent, the right, like you got to have both. So like,
I think I know we're over time, but this is really important, guys, because the stuff matters, like why would you don't hurt your kids' chances? I mean, but I think one of the most powerful things that I help midget players transitioning to juniors to understand how, your midget coach cared about you. Not saying junior coaches don't care about you, but like that's amateur hockey. When you get to junior hockey, now it is professionalized. And something that an illustration, a metaphor that I always help them understand is that coach now feeds his daughters. He puts food on his table for his family by wins and losses. He's not going to take a gamble on you if you're a bad kid, if you're not consistent, if you don't show up on time, if you don't this, you don't that, you don't this. They're going to take the next kid who they know comes from a good family, who they know when they reach out to their parents are talking to them about resilience and finding a way and, doing the right things. They're not going to risk their daughter's livelihood on a crappy kid, crappy family, crappy parent.
100%, man. All right. Well, we got all we needed out of the Friday Face-Off. Maybe next week, Vex, I want to tell some actual stories of some parents on the recruiting process. Why don't we do that? Well, I'll prove it to you. And again, I'll tell a few stories that kind of reiterate some of this stuff, but Yeah, man. Parents, you are being evaluated just like your kid is, and your conduct and the type of family that you have is very much something that people are asking about and want to know. So, anyways, thought I would do that text because it did stir some people up on social media. I thought we'd talk about it here today. So, Friday Face Off, Jeff, great job.
Share the show.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.